And hey, welcome everybody to another edition of the Daily Space Weather. I'm your guest, Dan, who's also your host. Because, by the way, I'm not only smAsho, I'm also a client. We see some solar flares kicking off over the past 24 hours as Sunspot 2770 rises. That's 3 in a row in the northeast. Another Cycle 25 sunspot. It's emitting some X-ray flares in the B-class range. Here's a 94 angstroms video from the SDO. It's 48 hours of solar activity there. And you can see the brightness in the second half of the video of those solar flares coming out of that active region in the northeast. There you see some brightening. Those are those B-class solar flares. We're in a very high-speed solar wind stream right now, and we're just showing you the view from the LASCO C2, part of the SOHO suite, to show you the coronal mass ejection that some of our viewers noted on the 30th, July 30th. And we didn't cover that for a reason. It's because it was not anywhere near Earth facing. The view from stereo A showed us that there was nothing to see as far as facing the Earth. Here's a zoomed out version of that from the C3. Nothing too exciting happening there. Here's the view from stereo A going out to Lagrange point 5. And you can see Mercury there skirting around into the behind the sun from the perspective of stereo A mode. It's Mercury, not a Borg ship. So next we're looking at 193 angstroms here, and this very, very large coronal hole associated with the North Pole region is where the coronal hole wind stream is coming from. We do anticipate a second one coming out of this coronal hole in about 3 or 4 days. But the one that's striking the magnetosphere right now is from that massive, very well-defined coronal hole leading those sunspot groups. And we did make some custom helioviewer movies also. This is another 48-hour SDO video. And here's helioviewer, and there's something going on with the AIAs, the SDO. Here are the fields, and I'll zoom in a little bit on Sunspot 2770. Yes, it is already a sunspot. And if you stay tuned to the end of the video, we may even let you know whether it's beta class or alpha class. So here's a zoomed out view of the past day, showing us both the 304 angstroms SDO video as well as the LASCO C2 overlapped. One of the many features on helioviewer.org. Nothing exciting happening there. And let's watch Sunspot 2767 as it sets. And please give Mr. MBB333 and Gina Maria Colbert Hill, or whatever her name is, that there's something there. It's a craft. It's pulling something out of the sun. Just kidding, folks. That's total nonsense. And those channels are paid thousands of dollars per month on YouTube to scare and frighten and confuse their viewers. Next, looking at the northern region, you can see that coronal hole is so defined you can even see it in 171 angstroms over here. Great view of the north solar pole, as well as former Sunspot 2768, Sunspot 2769, which is still a legit sunspot, and the rising of Sunspot 2770, which is the most active region right now on the sun as far as we can tell from Earth. So that's something to keep an eye on throughout the day. And when I say eye on, well, the pun is obviously intentional. 10.7 centimeter radial flux is at 72. And there's the graph from the last solar maximum, which happened in February of 2014. And look for that 10.7 centimeter radial flux to steadily rise for the next 5 years. That's why we cover it. So we did see a period of geomagnetic unrest briefly there, just after midnight universal time, and that's since come down. And there you can see those couple of B-class solar flares that you could see on the SDO videos here, on the GOES X-ray flux measured by the GOES 16. We don't see any significant proton events here. There's the GOES proton flux, quite flatlined. And next, let's look at the real-time solar wind, and you can see wild shifts of the BT/BZ over the past 24 hours, as it is all over the place. Phi angle fairly steady here. Some magnetic connections with the coronal hole. Probably the more equatorial coronal hole. And you can see the solar wind density made it all the way up to just under 20 protons per cubic centimeter, now having ramped down and having the speed ramped up. Current solar wind density 9.45 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed 557 kilometers per second, having reached highs of as much as 657 kilometers per second, and that is actually the geomagnetic unrest struck right around here in these 3 hours. So as the solar wind density dropped and the solar wind speed picked up, we saw that brief period of geomagnetic unrest. Here are the magnetosphere movies, and we're going to show you both the density and the pressure here as we have this high density subsiding wind. That's 4 hours of data. You can see the high density shown here in dark blue, low density shown in white. I hate it when it refreshes during the videos, folks, but that's the danger of streaming live. So here's the pressure. You can see very high pressure here, a result of that high solar wind speed. And we also see some auroras sparked as a result of this. Here is the 30-minute forecast. Especially in the southern hemisphere, you can see those red zones where it's about a 90% chance that you can see the aurora. So if you're in a spot where you can see the aurora, now may be a time to go check, as we still see KP of 3, I believe, right now. And let's look at ground magnetic perturbations, and we see significant perturbations over both north poles as well as the south pole. Is there a possibility that there are 2 south poles already? Is there one over here as well as one over here? Not entirely sure, but it's part of the reason why we watch the daily stuff. Let's take a look at the polar view here for once, as we don't always do so. Let's do so today. Since we have a more active magnetosphere than normal. So probably an indication where there's electron flux happening. We'll show you the total electron content of the entire air column later in the video. But first, we've entered another episode of the Smash Lights. A dimension not just of sight and sound, but of mind. I mind when astronauts return home. The first U.S. mission, welcome home Bob and Doug. The first U.S. mission in 45 years splashed down off the coast of Pensacola, Florida on Sunday. Cheers to those dudes for making it home safely. Let's look at the pre-market data here on cnbc.com/pre-markets. Dow futures and S&P both slated to open slightly lower. NASDAQ slightly higher, and Russell pretty close to the unch line, fairly flat on the Russell. Gold at $1,990 an ounce. Silver at $24.4 per ounce. Euro looking weak with respect to the dollar. No surprises there. As politicians argue about how much helicopter money to distribute to people. What a crazy, insane, nonsensical idea. Have you entered a rabbit hole by viewing our channel? Well, please press like and subscribe if you're over on YouTube. Leave us a comment. And it's up to you to share the content on your social media, as it probably will never get suggested. And we're always wondering what's going on with those YouTube algorithms. Were you aware that Uncle Ben's is not a symbol of systemic racism, but a symbol of parboiled rice? That's why you get such perfect grain separation, because they parboil the rice. If you haven't followed me on Instagram, it's instagram.com/smAsho. There's exclusive content there, and let's talk about the mission. Now, if you head to smashomash.com/forum/mission, you'll see this graphic. Why do we have the channel? Well, it's one of the numbers in here, and it's part of the mission. The first part is to assist, study, and report on the ongoing formation of a unified theory of physics. This is why we're interested in things like heliophysics, cosmology, superionized states of things like water, other condensed matter physics, etc., as it is the way of the future, folks. The way of the future is condensed matter. Another point of our mission is to raise the awareness of the general public of the relationship between space, weather, and Earth effects. All your weather comes from space. Deal with it. 3, to connect and consult with media organizations to multiply our reach, hence videos like this one. Again, don't forget to press like and subscribe and share on your social media, especially if you're one of these people who has like 5,000 Facebook friends. We greatly appreciate your support. Also, to demonstrate cutting-edge proof-of-concept solutions to problems. As we see lots of problems on the horizon, problems such as the monopolization of information itself by certain big tech organizations, to make one example. 5, to publish scientific papers in a multidisciplinary manner, including but not limited to sciences such as spectroscopy, chemistry, astrophysics, health, wellness, longevity, cosmology, biology, magnetohydrodynamics, geology, you see how those tie together, etc. Also to help the humans, the poor humans, to assist mankind by advancing the study of predictive phenomenon in order to optimize value and reduce risk and liability and save lives and resources and adapt no matter what the adversity is. Whether it's a deadly solar flare that shuts down the entire power grid or whatever, your ancestors survived perhaps much worse cataclysms than you have, such as, worse global pandemics with much deadlier diseases, for example. And lastly, the mission is to not be ossified in our beliefs, and to treat those who are with love, respect, and inclusion to the scientific discussion. So if you're on board with that sort of stuff, please consider becoming a patron. We've got 9 different levels there now for your convenience, so you can donate whatever you like. Keep in mind there are some additional, we're going to have some paid subscription services on the website, smashomash.com, and we'll phase out the Patreon and the Subscribe Star. However, you can visit those links below the video and support the channel that way if you like. Thanks to our new subscribers over there at Twitch. Twitch.tv/smAshomash is where we've been streaming these live daily space weather content videos. Take a moment to press like and subscribe on YouTube, if you haven't already. Will that help us in the algorithms? Probably not. Maybe after the election's over, we'll actually see a reasonable number of views over on YouTube, but I doubt it, as we are buried deep in the shadow ban search algorithms. We are also on BitChute. We've recently put up an exclusive over there. The BitChute 200 subscriber spectacularly stupendous special. Yes, it's true, folks. It's true. There's exclusive content on every social media site. So check us out at BitChute, bitchute.com/smAshomash if you haven't. As we approach 1,000 views on our video from March 19th. Yes, it's 4 months old, about hydroxychloroquine. Why is it there? Well, it's because it instantly got demonetized on YouTube because of the scammy, crooked, politically biased nature of a certain specific company. Alphabet. So check us out at smashomash.org. There are links to other ways to support the channel there. such as our affiliate. It's smashomash.com/affiliate. Yes, the verb. It's the verb form, folks. Affiliate. Affiliate with us by purchasing, oh, I don't know, a pulse oximeter, maybe some of the essential amino acid L-lysine, or perhaps methylsulfonylmethane. Now, we got some negative comments about methylsulfonylmethane yesterday, so let me explain what the benefits are. Now, if you're not an athlete, you may not notice the effects of methylsulfonylmethane the way that thoroughbred horses do. It's part of the sulfur cycle. Volcanoes spit out a chemical called carbonyl sulfide. Now, this causes cloud nucleation to happen, but beyond that, it creates a bunch of chemical reactions in the atmosphere, which eventually turn it into methylsulfonylmethane. What's the reason for this? Well, multiple human and animal trials indicate MSM may reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. It's also been shown to protect muscles from damage by reducing the amount of oxidative stress incurred during exercise. So, the point is, if you aren't an athlete, you may not notice the effects of MSM, but that doesn't mean that they're not there. So in any case, perhaps consider trying it out. We've put up a 1,000 milligram gel cap variety of it, and we actually have a bottle of this downstairs. We don't endorse any products that we don't personally use, and I've been taking L-lysine for over a decade, and we haven't received our pulse oximeter yet, but if you really want to check out the efficacy of masks in terms of what it does to your oxygen content, consider purchasing the Zacurate Pro Series 500DL via our links. Again, they are all available at smashomash.com/affiliate. We've also got some new designs that we just put up over the weekend. The Mensa shirt. You can now purchase this design on a t-shirt at the Teespring store. Links to that below the video as well. Where we invite you, since it's up to you to make Earth not suck again, please make Earth not suck again, viewers. Or if you're an American and not an international viewer, as we've got many international viewers on the channel, make America not suck again. It's also up to you. So check out the Teespring store. It's linked below the video as well. We've got the SMAsho Price My First Pandemic shirt, as well as the colored version. It's in leggings. Also the I've Survived the Global Pandemic So Far shirt. Consider one of those. You can get it in gold or purple if you don't like the black. And also, if you need to reach us, you can do so via the smAsho VoIP line. Thanks everybody who sent us text messages, etc. If you've got a breaking news story or an image you'd like us to feature, perhaps consider sending us a text. Country code +1, area code 610-936-9799. That's the smAsho VoIP line. Country code +1, area code 610-936-9799. But most importantly, please help the channel to continue to exist, increasing the probability that these videos will remain free and publicly visible by supporting us however you can via the links below the video. And thanks again for tuning in to another Smashlight segment where I just straight up vanish at the end, and then I move on to more things. Oh, and before we end, let's talk about somebody asking me if I want to become famous, some sort of a followers type purchasing organization, which I will not cite in the video. Thanks for leaving a comment. In any case, QJP51D Mustang 5. We don't pay for follows and subscriptions and things like that. And let's get back to some more data while I reappear. Check out how spiky the GOES magnetometer has been over the past couple of days here. And that was something that I completely forecasted. So there you can see all these big spikes. And this has to do with the impending crossing of the current sheet. Why did the planet cross the current sheet? To get to the other polarity. And we are still in the North Pole current sheet according to the Gong 2 data. And here you can see that green portion of the current sheet there. We're about to snap across. We could have already snapped across. And at any moment this can happen. Keep in mind the magnetic environment can suddenly change. And the data is 1 hour and 35 minutes old. Here's a line of sight field plot which shows you the B field, which is the one on which you live. Happens to also be the interplanetary magnetic field. That's shown to you in blue. And I'm not expecting the rising Sunspot 2770 to be super powerful, as we don't see any big changes in the B field yet. Although, again, keep in mind, it can suddenly change with no warning. Here's the 1-year relativistic electron flux graph, courtesy of Solon.info, by the way. And as I forecasted yesterday, we saw the electron flux basically cratered, and that was because of the incoming coronal hole wind stream. And this is going to remain at low levels today. We will not see any electron flux warnings as long as that solar wind speed remains so elevated. Here's the total air column, the total electron content forecast, and we see some anomalies down here in the southern hemisphere once again. Down by Antarctica, we see some big electron flux anomalies. And it's at the south of Africa there. You can see right near the coast of Antarctica. You see some major electron flux anomalies happening right there around 1300 Universal Time yesterday on August 2nd. Play that for you one more time. Some big-time electron flux anomalies there in the southern hemisphere winter. Otherwise, things are looking fairly normal here. And that will show you where GPS errors should be happening. Here's just the ionosphere. Now, instead of looking at the whole air column, we're just looking at one layer, the ionosphere, and that is where the GOES satellites attempt to make their measurements. And the ionosphere is extremely anomalous right now, especially on the nighttime side. And it looks like it might have wobbled back into a more normal state here. Let's check out the latest image. Here's the latest image. That one is at 7 o'clock Universal Time, and you can see 8:15 Universal Time. Looking a little bit more normal there. Here's where things are in the solar system as Mercury swings around to the backside of the Sun, becoming the only planet not on the same side of the Sun as the Earth, as everything else is on this side of the Sun. There's where things will be in a week, as Mercury and Venus take turns breaking the pattern. If you get up before dawn, you should be able to see Venus high in the sky. And also Mars is around the apex on its ecliptic path, and you should be able to also see Saturn, Jupiter, and the Moon very close to each other, depending on how early you get up. Next, looking at earthquakes of the past 24. Let's see what we see. There's a very shallow quake at 1,500 meters above sea level at Hawaii. We'll get to it. Let's go up the list first. This could be the largest of the past 24. It's a 5.8 at Papua New Guinea. So significant quake popping off at Papua. Here's a deep quake in Indonesia. It's at 400 kilometers and a 4.2 magnitude. Here's a deep quake at Papua New Guinea. Once again, a 5.3 at 121 kilometers of depth. See some more quakes in California. And here's a deep quake at Fiji. It's very deep. 578 kilometers depth and a 4.5 magnitude. A 5.2 at Tonga. That one happening about 20 minutes later. So 2 deep quakes close by in a short period of time. Another Papua New Guinea deep quake. And here's that quake on Hawaii. Let's take a look at the location of that. I'll bet it's right under Mauna Loa. No, it's very far north. Check it out. I don't think we've ever reported on a quake out in that area near the Hamakua Forest Reserve. 1,500 meters above sea level, folks. I expected that one to be under Mauna Loa. Turned out not to be. And let's move on. Speaking of Mauna Loa, to the volcano rundown for today. Look at the flux-gas clouds. Look at all these 90-degree angles. Here's some clouds, 90-degree angle, 90-degree angle, 90-degree angle, 90-degree angle. Is that the Hall effect in the atmosphere? Well, those look like low clouds. And that is exactly what you would expect from things like cosmic ray flux. Nishino-shima is on the list. Flight level 160 over Nishino-shima. Please do not fly your ultralight home-built kit helicopter over the caldera. Let me just check the quality of the stream here once again. Please don't spam us with advertisements, as we're trying to get paid, not pay you for subscribers and things like that. Suwanuse-jima exploded. Unknown volcanic ash cloud there. Don't pole vault the caldera. Kadivar exploding. Flight level 04040 at Kadivar. Popocatépetl. No volcanic ash observed in satellite. Please do not attempt to tightrope the caldera there, as it explodes practically every day. Fuego's exploding. Flight level 140. Sangay exploding, producing a 21,000-foot ash plume there. Ravenador exploding. Flight level 140 there. That means 14,000 feet. Sabancaya exploding. Flight level 250, a.k.a. a 25,000-foot plume of ash. Please do not attempt to do the triple Lindy, featured in the Rodney Dangerfield movie Back to School, over the caldera there. It could prove unhealthful. Let's talk about former Hurricane Isaias, not Dr. Zaius, Isaias. And there's the projected path. We're going to show you a more detailed view of this on Tropical Tidbits. And we're looking at AccuWeather's news forecast. It's expected to track inland over the mid-Atlantic, basically the I-95 corridor. Here's what AccuWeather has to say about it. It's a fairly recent video. Let's move on to Tropical Tidbits. So here's where we're expecting the total precipitation to be as of Wednesday at 6 o'clock Universal Time. So we're expecting some flooding here, as much as 3 inches of rain forecasted here in eastern Pennsylvania. And there's what we're expecting the path to be like through Thursday. It looks like it's going to split in two, and part of it's going to go out into the ocean. And we basically forecasted that thing weakening. Here's the weather.gov map. And let's move on to look at pressure zones here on windy.com. Now, I use windy.com on my mobile device. They got a great free mobile app. It's got all kinds of data on there. You can track things like sulfur dioxide and all kinds of stuff that you may not even know is available. Anyway, here's the GFS forecast for where windy.com predicts things will be tomorrow at noon my time. Next, looking at jet streams. And we see some extreme cold air being pulled down into the U.S. And about half of the country is experiencing scattered showers and thunderstorms right now. And you see that extreme meridional jet stream flow, so characteristic of the year 2020, the year when it became really obvious about so many things, so many political hacks, and so many other silly things. What the hell did I do? Did I just miss a whole bunch of slides, folks? I may have missed a whole bunch of slides. In any case, too bad. We're carrying on. So next, looking at lightningmaps.org. We do see some lightning strikes here. It looks like Kansas has got some active lightning. Next time you hear thunder, check it out. We've got at least one viewer who likes it. Next, looking at water vapor maps. Here we're moving over to Europe and Africa. There are the water vapor maps for those areas. Here's water vapor maps for our Far Eastern and Oceania type viewers. And I know we've got a few in these areas. And here's the water vapor map for the Americas, the Western world, the Far West. Here is the U.S. Doppler radar map. And as you can see, we've got more like 2/3 of the country seeing scattered showers here and thunderstorms. Again, we're getting cold air being pulled way down here, and we've got a bunch of low clouds. It's a very interesting weather environment right now. Here's a close-up of former Hurricane Isaias. I think it's now a tropical storm. I really don't know, as it's somewhat irrelevant. And let's here's what's going on in the cloud layer, and we like to report this because when you can't use the visible satellite, you can use the shortwave NASA GOES interactive weather satellite to see where clouds are anticipated to be as water vapor emits radiation. Anyway, there's that. Here's the U.S. water vapor map. And you can see major pressure gradients here on various different spots as dry, massive air is taking its good old time, pushing its way east. And let's take a close-up of what's going on around the coast of Georgia, as that is the biggest pressure gradient we see on the map today. Great view there of Tropical Storm Isaias. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Hey, Smash Team, thanks for tuning in. We greatly appreciate your support. And now I'm going to vanish. We apologize if we missed some frames. Thanks for flying, American Smashways. Please don't forget to keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times. We've got bonus features, such as the 131 angstroms view from the SDO. We're also going to show you Sunspot 2770 as it just rises. And we've got a blurry image here, folks. Nice. Here's the colorized magnetogram. There are umbrae. Oh wow, we've got serious blurrage. Maybe the Battlestar Galactica has flown in between the Earth and the Sun. Anyway, here's a 48-hour video. There are umbrae associated with that. That sunspot will most assuredly get named today, Sunspot 2770. Thanks again for tuning in. Welcome to the Neo Renaissance. Please support the channel via the links below the video. Buy yourself a shirt, some leggings, or whatever you like. Maybe a pulse oximeter. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back and that covidiously absent from your location. Go ahead, just try to put it out. I dare ya.